point fairly early in the process at St. Vincent College. There will be 11 on one side and 11 on the other, and the offense is going to get things going by executing a handoff. And then the next play is going to come. The offense is going to execute another handoff, and everyone everywhere is going to repeat the familiar refrain, run first. Run first. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Wednesday is reporting date in Latrobe. Thursday is the first practice, but it'll take an additional handful of days until the pads come on and the scenario that I'm laying out here for you comes to pass. Or wait, will it come to run? Let's put it this way. Through all of the various conversations, OTAs, minicamp, and so forth, whether it's with players or coaches, there is a universal sentiment that the Steelers will be a run-first team. And why is that? Well, partly because, they're the Steelers and it's what they do, for whatever that's worth. Partly, I'm sure, because they had 533 rushing attempts in the 2024 NFL season, ranking fourth in the league in that category. Well, they weren't very good at it, averaging 4.1 yards per carry, good for only 25th in the 32-team league. But they sure did try it a lot. But also partly because, as I said, everyone just seems to think that this will be the case. And I'm talking about the people on the inside, the ones who matter. I'm not so sure, and I'm not ready to take all that stuff that everyone said, again from the inside, and stamp it in cement. For me, it would certainly beg a whole lot of questions that deserve some pretty good answers, such as, are you really going to be that much more efficient at running the ball than you were last season? You and I can say stuff like, well, I believe that Caleb Johnson is going to be an upgrade over Najee Harris. We don't have anything to support that at the NFL level, not as we're speaking. He's gotten the job done in the minor leagues. He's yet to take a snap in the major leagues. We can say that Jaylen Warren will be better with a bigger workload, and the math would seem to line up with that, except that we don't know that because Jalen's never had a bigger workload in the NFL. We can say that the offensive line is going to be more efficient at run blocking, in part because there will have been another year for everyone to get more comfortable with Arthur Smith's wide zone blocking scheme, but we don't know that. And on top of all that, another question. If you're going to be a run-first team, what are you doing going getting DK Metcalf, then Aaron Rodgers, then Jonnu Smith, and then, ostensibly, another wide receiver, a WR2 type, to either stack up on the line or serve as legitimate depth behind Metcalf? Remember that admonition I'm often bringing up. Don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do. This is what they've done. This is what they're continuing to do. And that being the case, and so many wide receivers and tight ends being capable of making plays of all ranges at all points on the field, that for me would strongly suggest, they're going to throw the ball. They might even throw to set up the run. Right? Right? You buying this at all? No, you're not? I can kind of tell you're not. Maybe it's because we're all just stuck with the all too fresh memory of handoff, 3rd and 8, handoff, 3rd and 7. And we all remember that it was, of course, Smith as the coordinator for that, too. Just as we remember complaining that it seems like every other offense in the NFL, except Pittsburgh's, comes with some element of unpredictability, whereas the Steelers were just going handoff, incompletion, punt, handoff, incompletion, punt. And in turn, we have a harder time believing it could be something else. I'm going to give you a gut on this for now. I'm throwing out both what they've said and even what they've done in terms of building the offense from the roster standpoint, and instead remind everyone that even the additional receiving options have come with size, have come with bulk. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Jonnu Smith, or for that matter, Pat Freiermuth, are grade A blockers at the tight end position. But I'm also not going to pretend that an offense that routinely puts 3 tight ends onto the field, regardless of how they're lined up, isn't going to be better at run blocking than an offense that puts, 4 or 5 wides out there. So what I'm envisioning here is more of a September stance. I want to get Caleb Johnson's feet warm. I want to get him involved without necessarily burdening him too much. Similarly, I want Jaylen Warren to feel like he's the guy for the first time, even if my longer-term intent is not for him to be that guy. Because having 2 of those guys, or even a third one in Kenny Gainwell, benefits me a lot heading into a 17-game schedule plus playoffs. I'm going to need all of them. I also want my offensive linemen to build up some confidence. And anybody who's played that position will attest, and in the strongest possible tones, by the way, that all of that originates with your run blocking. That's where you get your mojo. That's where you get your flex. If you want those guys to start feeling better about themselves, especially the 4 young guys, you want to press the gas pedal on them a little bit? Okay, run the ball. Go ahead and run the ball. But I'll keep going here because it's not just about the young guys. I think you buy Aaron Rodgers some needed time on the field with this offense through that opening month. And I'm circling the month for a reason. The month ends in Dublin, Ireland against the Vikings, who I think are going to enter that game with a similar record to the Steelers. That's going to make for quite the matchup. And then after that's the bye week. So there's a nice little definition there. If Rodgers can have an opportunity to have that month with the offense where he does a lot of turning around and just handing the ball off while getting the feel for the entire group, that's also a plus. But you know what I'd want out of this more than anything? And I'm sorry if I use this term way too much as it relates to the offense, but it fits so beautifully what I'd want to see. Rhythm. Let's see that rhythm. The rhythm can't occur without the run being a very real option when you want it to be an option, not just when the other guys allow it. So yeah, go ahead and run first. When we come back, J1Q. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George is a personal injury law firm in Western Pennsylvania that represents injured people in automobile accidents, workers' compensation cases, and medical malpractice claims. The attorneys at Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George pride themselves in doing what they say they're going to do. It's important to them that when they make you a promise, they keep that promise. And this law firm has been keeping promises for over 80 years. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has been AV rated. That's the highest rating a law firm can receive for legal ability and ethics. And the lawyers at the firm have been designated super lawyers, that's a real thing, for over 15 years. Rare combination there. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them at lgkg.com or by calling 888-842-5454. Again, that's 888-842-5454. Today's J1Q comes from Zach. He says, DK, the most impressive thing that Omar Khan has done, in my opinion, is all the effort and energy he's put into building up the lines of scrimmage. When can we get a Zach Frazier episode? Dude is going to be the next great Steelers center. I would bet my life on it. Zach, this isn't exactly going to be a tough sell for you here. I am as much of an admirer of Frazier's rookie season as anyone could conceivably be, more so since it ended, and I've had more of an opportunity to review the work that he did, which isn't always very easy while the games are still going on and you're bouncing around practices and travel and so forth. He did things, I'm going to stress this again, as a rookie that he shouldn't be doing as a rookie. And I mean that in a good way. He shouldn't be capable of doing as a rookie. Downfield stuff, second life stuff, bumping one guy to get to another guy and somehow not losing any speed or momentum in doing so. Creating not just the first hole, but even the second hole somehow in the same line, somehow with opponents to either side of him. And on those opportunities that he was able to block for Jaylen Warren, as opposed to Najee Harris, he could find a back who would hit not just one, but both of those holes, and do so in a straight line. Now, is Frazier going to be the Dermontti Dawson, Marquise Pouncey type who's getting you the spectacular blocks that make all the highlights that are 20, 30 yards downfield? I mean, I'm sure it's going to happen for him. But any coach, not just an offensive line coach, not just a coordinator, but any head coach will always take that center who can make the play that's literally right in front of him, who can be dynamic in the one part of the field that you most need to win. And that's right there. It's right along the lines. Zach, you said it yourself. The Steelers, and I'm more inclined on this subject to spread the credit around, or blame if you don't like what they've done, and not just give it all to Omar. Andy Weidl has been very influential when it comes to both sides of the line of scrimmage, bringing that mentality over from the Eagles. The head coach, listen, you can't do any of this stuff without Mike Tomlin at least going along with it. And when you look at the investments that have been made, the first-round picks, the second-round picks, before that, the free agent money that especially went out onto the offensive line side of it, Tomlin has very obviously been in favor of that. Now, I've liked what they've done all along. I'll admit, as I'm sure most will, to having some impatience about how some of it's gone, and some impatience to how long it took to get around to doing it on the defensive side. But it's there now on both sides. Doesn't mean it's done. And actually, I want to be kind of careful here. We're talking about the great centers. You brought that up. I brought up the names, Dawson and Pouncey. I could have included the great Ray Mansfield going back to the 70s. And a lot of that's unfair. Everybody has their, almost everybody has their backward step that they make in a career. Sometimes it can just be a game or two. Sometimes, as we just saw with Broderick Jones, it can be an entire season. Tomlin, in a camp setting, will vocally admonish year two players more than any others. He expects to see a rise in performance, just as he expects to see, and he gets really specific about this, a rise in conditioning, getting into what he refers to as NFL shape, something that he doesn't even think is possible for kids coming out of college. My own feeling on year two is, I'm not the coach, so I don't have to do that. I'm just a little guarded. I want to see first and foremost that they're not taking that Broderick step backward. So this year, obviously, I'd want to see it with Frazier. I'd want to see it with Mason McCormick. I'd want to see it with Troy Fautanu, who is telling me himself he does not consider this to be his makeup rookie year or anything else. He is treating it like his year two, and he's treating it like his year two, as he also told me, in the Mike Tomlin context, meaning it's an advance year. Okay, well, all of this sounds great, and everybody can give each other these bro shoves in the huddle and everything, but it doesn't matter until you go out there and do it. I will say, though, Zach, that my hopes for Frazier are higher than for anybody on the line, at least on the interior. I really, really like Fautanu. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot. of Steelers. Don't forget, we have a double shot coming your way. That'll be at 4 p.m. Eastern today. We might have to adjust the times later in the week because of sessions in Latrobe. But for today, 4 p.m. Eastern, that's live on our YouTube channel and, of course, on our own app and website, DK Pittsburgh Sports. Hope to see you then.